Hello friends, now in this lecture we will discuss about the bases. What is a base? A base by definition is a metallic oxide or a metallic hydroxide, or you can say the ammonium hydroxide, which reacts with the protons, which reacts with the hydrogen ions from the acids and produce salts and water. So here are certain bases. A base is a metallic oxide, like we have a copper oxide in this example. A metallic hydroxide, like magnesium hydroxide, aluminum hydroxide, or it can be ammonium hydroxide. These are the bases, right? When we react these bases with the acids, the hydrogen ions from the acids, suppose HCl, you get H positive from the HCl, H positive from this one, right? So these are the acids. So when you react a base with these acids, you get a salt and the water. So a base is basically a metallic oxide, metallic hydroxide, or the ammonium hydroxide. Because these compounds over here, right? These compounds over here, they react with the hydrogen ions, right? You know, the H plus sign from the acids, it reacts with them and produces the salt and the water. Suppose the copper oxide, it reacts with the HCl and forms the copper chloride, and the hydrogen reacts with the oxygen and forms the water. From H2SO4, H plus sign reacts with the hydroxide and forms the water there. The magnesium then reacts with the sulfate and forms the magnesium sulfate. So you get a salt plus water. Aluminum hydroxide again, hydrogen ion from the nitric acid reacts with the hydroxide and forms the water there. Aluminum reacts with the nitrate and forms the aluminum nitrate. Ammonium hydroxide again, the OH reacts with the H plus ion and forms the water. Ammonium ion reacts with chlorine and forms ammonium chloride. So whenever you react an acid with a base, you get a salt plus water. And here by definition we can say a base is a metallic oxide, a metallic hydroxide, or the ammonium hydroxide, which reacts with the hydrogen ions from the acids and form the salts and the water. Correct? Okay, so all these substances, these are basic in nature because they react with the acids. Now another term which we commonly use is alkali. Often we compare the base with the alkali and alkali with the base. There's a little bit misconception. I have seen many of the students. Actually an alkali is a metallic hydroxide, or you can say an alkali is any compound that can produce hydroxide ions. So from these examples, all of these are basic. These are the bases, but copper oxide is not a base. Sorry, copper oxide is not an alkali. It's a base but not an alkali, because alkali is a substance, or you can say alkalis are those bases which produce hydroxide ions. So all of these are alkalis. Magnesium hydroxide is an alkali, aluminum hydroxide is an alkali, ammonium hydroxide is an alkali. So alkali is basically a compound that can produce hydroxide ions when dissolved in the water. And all these alkalis, when they produce hydroxide ions, it is this hydroxide ion which reacts with the hydrogen ion from the acid, right? From the acid and forms the water. Okay? So therefore we can conclude here that all alkalis are actually bases, but all bases are not alkalis, right? Because the different compounds like sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, all of these compounds, they produce hydroxide ions and they react with the hydrogen ion from the acid, okay, and form the water here, right? So all these compounds, since they produce hydroxide ions, they'll be called as alkalis. Okay, and since they react with the hydrogen ions, you can call them as bases as well. So all the alkalis are bases, but not all bases are alkalis. Now the next point is, how do we classify the bases? We can classify the bases based on their strength, right? On the base of the strength, we have got two types of bases, a strong base and a weak base. A strong base is the one that produces, that ionizes completely in aqueous solution. A strong base completely ionizes in water, like NaOH in aqueous solution will dissociate completely into sodium and hydroxide ions, aqueous sodium ions and aqueous hydroxide ions. It dissociates completely, while as a weak base always dissociates partially. So that means there is an equilibrium in a weak base, like ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH. It dissociates partially in the aqueous solution in water, so you get the ammonium ions, NH4 plus ions and hydroxide ions. But the compound dissociates partially, that's why you have a equilibrium here. So weak bases, they produce a less number of hydroxide ions, and strong bases will produce more number of hydroxide ions. Hope you got the concept. Thanks for watching the video. Bye for now.